And now, an unsigned artist reveal worldwide spotlight. Marcus Williams, born in St. Louis and introduced to the palette of soul jazz music by his mother and his father. Versed in classical piano but transitioned to trumpet, Williams's talent garnered several awards, prompting a demand for a deeper commitment to his gift. Under the guidance of his father, the creative was thrust into the musician's haven of knowledge and became a student at Berklee College of Music, where he was mentored by Dr. Richard Evans, who arranged Reaching for the Sky by Peebo Bryson, and protege to Ed Townsend, producer of the beloved Marvin Gaye classic, Let's Get It On. On a brief stint in LA, Williams was offered, yet declined, questionable record deals, but soon began to score music for 20th Century Fox Interactive Games, Panasonic Interactive, and Microsoft and Virgin Interactive Entertainment. Williams traveled across the globe, continuing to work in multimedia until his soft landing in Bali, Indonesia. Join me to hear the story of composer trumpeter Marcus Williams live in the Unsigned Artist Reveal Worldwide Studio. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Unsigned Artist Reveal Worldwide. I am your host, creator as well, Sabrina Taylor. I want you to get your hand held, right? I want you to share. I want you to invite. I want you to let everybody know we are on the air tonight, and we've got a very, very special guest. All the way from Indonesia. Where's that at? I don't even know, right? Except I've heard Bali is a beautiful, beautiful place as a getaway. And it's just so amazing that this platform is really, really reaching the world, literally reaching the world. I've got someone coming from Brisbane in about a couple of months. And so I'm just really excited about what is about to happen. You're about to meet an amazing trumpeter who's kind of semi-retired, and we're going to try to help him come out of retirement, right? You are the Unsigned Artist Reveal family. You love on our music enthusiast uh, artist as music enthusiasts, and I hope that your love for the artist as an enthusiast will help him come right on back to the people who love him, right? So I see you guys are coming in. There are comments that are starting to pop up. I want to bring on my guest tonight. He is sitting there smiling and waiting. He's like, well, who is she talking about? I'm talking about you, Marcus. Hi there. Welcome to the show.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Sabrina.
Oh, hi
Here.
there. It is such a pleasure to finally have you on our platform. And as the night goes on, we'll start getting some questions and some comments, and it's
Yeah.
going to be a lot of fun. So I really hope that you enjoy it. But it's early for you. So what time is it now there?
It's 8:34 a.m. in the morning.
Wow. Wow. So what's it like living in Indonesia?
Hmm. Peaceful. You must have patience.
Yeah.
That's the key in living in Asia. You must be patient.
Yeah.
When you first come, because you're in the Western world, everything is, hurry up time. Time is money. Blah blah blah.
Sure.
That does not work here.
No.
No, patience and a smile goes a long way.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
I like
Wow.
that. It's a slow living. No one's in a hurry to do things. Everybody's patient, and it causes this non-stressful situation. I like that.
My goodness. And I wonder what that would be like here in the States. I mean, everything is fast paced. You're on a schedule. You gotta come, you gotta go, and it's about
It
time management here.
it's a plus and a minus to everything. Okay,
Yeah,
so
I know.
for us, it makes us like diamonds. Right? We're like a piece of coal, and all of this pressure and you got to make it, and oh my God, and you got to fight for everything. That makes I wouldn't want to trade that upbringing. Okay,
Wow.
but at the same time, you like to have a break from it. But like I said, I think it's the best of both worlds because if you have this lifestyle, you're like kind of like, okay, you know, well, let's just enjoy the sun today, and I mean, it's a resort island, so it's not a place of uh, extreme like pressure business type of
Sure,
stuff.
sure, sure.
But I like having that. I never want to lose that edge. It makes you a diamond. You can handle any situation coming out of our environment. You
So,
can handle
Marcus, how long have you been in Bali now?
it. Let's see. It's just 2024, so it'd be wow. I'm gonna tell my age a little bit. I've been here for 24 years.
What?
Hmm.
Okay, so
I
you
came in the
gotta
year 2000.
you gotta love it to stay in one place for that long,
It
right?
gave me it gave me the I give Mama Bali a love because I wouldn't have made the music that you're able to hear if I wasn't here. I wouldn't have done it. America made me more violent, more it would have been like Cecil
Ooh,
Taylor type stuff. It would have been more
what? Ooh,
avant-garde. Yeah, but it gave me the love and being in the bosom of Bali. It healed me. I was pretty much I was really what do you
wow.
call it, in a bad way when I got here. Mentally, I was just negative.
And I want to get to that point as to why you how could someone because I don't I can visit
Hmm.
anywhere for like
Hmm.
3 or 4 days, right,
Hmm.
Marcus?
Hmm.
But 24 years, like outside of the US, oh, I don't know. I never say never, but I want you to take us back
Okay.
to because as I shared in the intro,
Hmm.
you started really really young with music. What do you remember about music?
Hmm. Um, when I first started, I wasn't really serious. I was very, what do you call it, silly when I was a child, right? Always
Yeah,
cracking jokes. And people used to think I would never really amount to anything because, I was just not focused on anything except just playing and having a good time as a child. But
sure.
it was when I heard the Miles Davis record going to the donut shop in St. Louis, and I heard Autumn Leaves with Cannonball Adderley, and I was like, I, I could do that. I just knew I could do that. I heard Miles was playing, and I said, I know how this works. And then I ran home and I asked my father. I said, I just heard this record, and he said, oh, it's down in the basement, and you can go get it. And that got the ball rolling.
So was
In terms,
music always being played in your house as you can
yes,
remember? Was there
yes.
like a collection of different kinds of music being played
Well,
in your
my
house?
my mother my mother really listened to blues and soul
Mm.
music. So like Junior Wells, a Shotgun, and she had Buddy Guy, she had Albert King.
Oh,
So
wow.
I was in diapers listening to that by the speakers, right? And I'd be
Yeah.
blah, 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 right? And my father was a real jazz. He was a jazz musician as well. He played drums. So I heard Charlie Parker. I had Dizzy Gillespie, Dexter Gordon, a lot of those type of records when I was young. So it was
Sure.
kind of and then we had classical music playing. My sister liked opera and things like that, so we would hear. It was a good. Only thing that wasn't playing in our house was probably country and western.
Hmm.
Yeah, but everything else was there. R&B. My sister would cut the radio on. She would listen to the radio all night. So I didn't know that was really seeping in me as well. So I had a lot
Exactly.
of. Yeah, a lot of different music that was coming into my ears before I really realized, until when I started writing and everything. I was like, oh wow, yeah, that's where am I getting this from? Because I was listening to it, didn't realize it.
But you didn't really start with trumpet, according
No,
to the research. So,
mm.
classical piano, what happened with that?
It's too strict. Too
Oh,
strict.
okay.
Um, you got to sit a certain way, and your
Yeah.
fingering got to be exactly the right way. And I had one problem with my finger, and I didn't realize this, but my this finger here and this finger somehow is connected.
Mm,
See,
mm, I
and like
see.
this one, I can do just fine, but this one is
Ah,
I
I
don't
got
understand.
it.
So it caused a lot of. So I would have to try to find the alternative way to play the line, because its fingerings on the piano, and classical piano has to be a
Mhm.
certain way. And so the lady, the teacher, Mrs. Kitchens, right? And she was a
Yeah.
good teacher. I don't have anything against her, but she'd have a ruler and she'd say, "No, not like that, cat."
So you didn't even forget. You didn't forget that, did you?
No, no. And so when my father offered us to, he said, "You can continue or you can stop." I was like, "Hey, I'm out. I quit." And so I stopped music altogether for about 4 years.
What?
Hmm.
Wow. Wow. 4 years of nothing.
Yeah.
What'd you do? Did you write? Did you find yourself doing other things
Well,
musically?
when I that was when I was still a child, or I was 7 when I
Right.
stopped,
Right.
and I was just riding my bicycle, just doing
Ah, you're
child.
being a kid.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Nothing
Playing
wrong with that.
kickball, and the monkey bars and all of that. Yeah. And then I got the letter from the St. Louis School Board that said that I had the lips to play a trumpet. And I don't know how that
Oh,
happened. That was definitely the most high God, because I hadn't auditioned for anything. And, you know, to just get a letter out of the sky that says you had the lips for the trumpet. And
wow.
so my dad asked me, "You want to play the trumpet?" I said, "I don't know." So we went and rented a
I
trumpet,
get
and that's how it started. It was hilarious. Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Wow. So then from classical piano
Mhm.
to trumpet,
Mhm.
what'd you find was a major difference other than it being one being more strict than the other? What was like that turning point that said, enough's enough's enough? It's all pretty much majority, not maybe all, because you still play keys now, though, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Right.
Yes. It was. I think when I started playing trumpet, I had to play in the school orchestra, so I was back to classical again, right?
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, okay. Anyway, in classical, everything has to be very staccato, strict.
Sure.
No, nothing. No hot sauce.
No
No
improv,
twisting
nothing.
around. Nothing.
It is what
And
it is.
yeah, just play the notes the way they are, your intonation and la la la. So I was like,
Mm,
man, this is not working. So at the high school, we had a jazz band, right? A big band. And so
sure.
in the morning, they would be rehearsing, and then I would come in, and I was in like 10th grade, and I would hear them rehearsing. I'd be, well, that's a lot more freer. I kind of want to do that, And so I finally auditioned for the next year, when my 11th year, 11th grade, my junior year. I auditioned for the band, and I made second chair, and that chair gets all the solos.
Of
So,
course.
so I was good at improvisation, and that's when I realized that's when I got very dead serious about things.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
because I
Yeah.
found something I could do, because you're when you're young, you're trying to find who you are.
Yourself.
Yeah, and I was like,
Absolutely.
I could do this. I heard the Miles Davis record. I could do this stuff. I can make the music. I understood the mixing. Everything was just like it made sense to me.
Right. Wow.
Yeah. So yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. We're going to continue the conversation we have to take these two breaks in
Okay.
the show, but definitely we're going to come back and um, I want you to tell me from there because I understand you went to Berkeley um,
Mm-hmm.
in Boston. So, and there were some other things that you'll tell the story. I read it, but I want you to tell the story.
Okay.
So,
No
hang
problem.
out, stay with us, and we'll be right back with you. And everybody, thank you so much for coming into the show. We're going to take a quick break, as you know. We'll come back with our special guest on tonight, trumpeter Marcus Williams. So hang tight, and we'll see you soon.
On April 1st, 2024, composer keyboardist Jesse Thompson, featuring saxophonist Judah Seeley, collaborates with the alluring new release Late Night. Late Night, Late Night. Grammy-nominated Will Downing has placed his stamp of approval by saying, "I swear I'm not trying to sound like Dick Clark, but it's got a nice beat and I can dance to it." Okay, along with a nice melody, smooth sax, and some killin' piano. Basically, it's got all the good bones of what a hit record should be. Late Night by keyboardist Jesse Thompson, featuring saxophonist Judah Seeley. Available on all digital platforms April 1st, 2024. The Platinum Agencies is taking the indie brand to the next level with customized strategies that includes interviews on unsigned artist reveal worldwide and promotional campaigns on social media. Listen to what these artists have to say about us. Daryl Anders of Agape Soul says Sabrina Taylor has created a brilliant platform to showcase unsigned and independent artists. She's been a great resource for increasing awareness and helping me to build my brand. International guitarist Gary Purcell says Unsigned Artist Reveal Worldwide offers a platform for unsigned artists to showcase and put themselves in a position where people can have an opportunity to learn about the artist in an up-close and personal setting. Sabrina Taylor does a great job making you feel comfortable and can really present the artist well to the audience. And it does not hurt that she has a smooth voice. The Platinum Agencies, better known as TPA, brand ambassador for indie artists on social media. Connect with the Platinum Agency at gmail.com.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. If you are just joining us, welcome. I'm Sabrina Taylor, creator and host of Unsigned Artist Reveal Worldwide, where we touch the world literally. I have a special guest tonight, and he's all the way from Indonesia, a beautiful place called Bali. Yeah, a getaway excursion. And sometimes I wished I could just get on a plane and get there right now, actually. So we welcome you to the show. We're so glad to have you. And before we went to break, you were sharing part of the journey, but we left off with me sharing with the audience that you had gone to Berkeley.
Mm-hmm.
Share a little bit about that experience at Berkeley.
Well, it was exciting when I had been encouraged to send a tape to Berkeley because you have to
Yeah.
audition in those days. It was in the '80s, right? And you couldn't just go; you had to audition. You had to be
Yeah.
accepted.
Wow.
And so I made a tape of some compositions I put together, and of course my trumpet sampling and everything. And I didn't think nothing of it. I didn't think I had a chance, you know. And so I got my first letter, and I was too scared to open it. So my friend, I said, "Will you open it? I can't read it." And so therefore, He came and read the letter, and he looked like, oh, he says, he says, I said, what? I didn't get it. Come on, see, I told you. He said, no, man, you got a scholarship to go to Berkeley, and it wasn't enough money yet, right? It was only
Yeah.
like maybe 20% of the tuition. So I was like, well,
Tuition.
I don't have the rest of the money, man. I can't go. And each day another letter came with another scholarship from like the Maynard Ferguson scholarship, and then the Quincy Jones scholarship, and it all equaled up to a full ride to go to
No
Berkeley.
way.
Yeah, it was crazy. And so I finally got to. I was so scared because that was the first time I ever left St. Louis. You know, St. Louis is kind of it's a big city, but it's still kind of a small town vibe.
It is. Yeah.
And so I got on the bus and I was, so scared, I was riding the Greyhound. It's like a movie scene, right? And I met a young lady who was a fashion designer studying in New York. And man, she kind of gave me all of the things I needed to know and look out, and
Sure.
oh, you're gonna love it, you're gonna be great. I was like an angel. It was like I was so grateful for her because when I finally got to Port Authority in New York, that's where she got off. We gave each other a hug. We changed the addresses and everything, and then I had to ride 4 hours more to Boston,
Yeah.
and I just felt prepared, and it was really great. The experience with Berkeley right away was that you are no longer special.
Ah,
Yeah, because everybody was talented
true.
that was at the school,
That's
you
true.
know.
Yeah.
So like in your neighborhood, you were like you were the shining light, but when you
Oh
get
God.
there,
Yeah.
all the shining lights around America are
We're
there.
correct. Yeah.
Right. So now
Yeah.
you have to challenge yourself. You're constantly being challenged
Hmm.
by, artists, and you had to find your identity. You had to learn to stand up for yourself. It was a good
Wow.
experience, a very good
Wow.
experience. Yeah.
But you were mentored while you were there. Talk about that experience.
Well, that was an awakening too.
Yeah. How
Because
so?
when I came to Berkeley, I was a trumpeter. All
Yeah.
right, that was my
Hmm.
mindset, was to just
Sure.
be a jazz trumpeter. And I had some demo tapes that I made because I bought a 4-track multi-track recorder and a little, keyboard and everything because I liked writing. I always wanted to write because I would ask people, but nobody could explain it to me. How do you put the chords together and how do you, make the melody and blah 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 and everybody I don't know because the most of the musicians I talk to they're just musicians, so
Got
they're
it.
not writers, right? And
Mm.
so I put together some tapes and I ran into Richard in the lobby and he said, "Hey man, how you doing?" Somehow we just struck up a conversation. I said, he says, "What are you studying here?" I said, "Well, I'm a trumpeter, but I like to write." He said, "Well, you got a demo tape?" I said, "Yeah." So I gave him the demo tape, and then about 2 days later, he contacted me and he said, "I need to see you
Hmm.
immediately." Right?
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh man, I'm a sucker. Something I did something wrong.
Right.
What happened now?" And so
Uh,
he he said, "Do you really know what you're doing?" I said, "I don't know. I'm just writing." He says, "No, you're a really great arranger, producer. You got
okay.
a great ear for engineering." And he says that you're like a young Quincy Jones. You know,
What?
because
What?
the way you mix and the way you lay out your tracks, it's like a Quincy Jones type thing. You know.
Hmm.
And I've heard that several places, and Quincy was a trumpeter too, so maybe it's a
Yes.
trumpet thing. But
Exactly.
it was crazy. I was like, wow. So he said, "Listen, I want you to come to my house every weekend because I want to teach you how to. You're like a diamond in the rough, and you need to understand." I had no idea what any of those things were, but I was
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah.
I was already doing it. And that's why I think that ties that back to where I was listening to all the music when I was
Hmm.
younger. I
True.
was listening to the drummer, I was listening to the bass
Ah,
player, I was
got
listening
it.
to the keyboard player.
Got
I
it.
didn't realize that till later. I was like, wow, I know how everything should be mixed, where you pan, that this should come out of this speaker. And I already knew that stuff. and instinctively. So yeah, Richard was a big awakening. He was the beginning of my knowing that I was a writer just as much as I was a. As a matter of fact, the musicianship took a back seat because I went more into the production side of
Really?
music production.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
And in, you know, my research of Dr. Richard Evans, he was amazing.
Oh yeah, he was tough.
All of his own. I mean,
He was tough.
he
He could
was
hear
the
my stuff
man,
over the.
right?
Yeah, he could hear your stuff over the phone and say, "Well, you got a D minor, but you got an E flat. I don't know where you got that from. It's not
Oh
working." I mean, on the
my
phone.
God.
But,
How
but
how does one person do that? I mean, that was
he
amazing.
was incredible.
Yes.
It was a gift of God to have him at that age, and I got it for free. I mean, he just took me under his wing.
Whoa. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mentorship is not free in
Right.
America these days.
Right.
You got to pay to
Right.
play, right?
Yeah, that's right. I was
Wow.
really blessed. He just really took a liking to me, and he taught me a lot about the business as
Mm,
well as music. So when I came to Los Angeles, I was already acute to certain things that you know that I shouldn't do and that
yeah.
I shouldn't sign, like publishing. Make sure you watch out for that.
Yep.
Watch out for your licensing, your Harry Fox stuff, and all of that.
Yes.
Back in those days, I was aware of those things where most people they come out, they're just green and and they don't know, and they get caught up in the lights and cameras and everything, and they sign their rights away and they get ripped off. So that's why it was hard for me to get a deal, and because I would read the contract and I would be like, well, what about my publishing? What about my? And they're like, what are you talking about? They look shocked. I'm like, well, yeah, I'm supposed to get publishing and all of this, right? And when
Yeah.
you got too smart, they just didn't want you. If you were
And
smart, you
they
weren't.
didn't
They
want
didn't
to
do it.
talk to you. Yeah.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
And for
They were.
those, I was going to say, for those who do not know Richard Evans, um, I'm sure you know this name, Peebo Bryson, right? So he, if I'm not mistaken, arranged Reaching for the Sky. I
Mhm,
loved that song as a kid. I mean, who didn't love Peebo Bryson, right? And I had no idea he produced a jazz harpist. Was her name Dorothy Ashby? I said, "What?" She was beautiful, beautiful African American harpist. Um, it was just amazing. This guy, and
mhm.
to have him as a mentor, that was
Yes.
priceless,
Yep.
Marcus. That was absolutely priceless. Yeah.
Yes. It was intimidating because when you walk in his house, he's got all these gold and platinum records.
See?
It's
Mhm.
like, oh my
Yeah.
God. And I'm thinking, well, what does he see in me? I'm just, but he saw it. He saw it, and I was grateful that because I was very, I won't say I was the easiest person to deal with when I was young. I was very headstrong.
Mhm.
I was very, like I said, I had to be that at Berkeley because all of the other young musicians, man, you ain't really playing the changes and all of this kind of thing. You have to stand up for yourself. So I had to
Right.
learn, how to be able to do that. So I had to learn to listen to the elders, basically.
Mm. Now that's wisdom.
Hmm.
Wisdom is key.
Yeah.
So before you go into anything else, because I want to talk about the second important person that you met
Mm.
along that journey as well, and we'll talk about that. I have one last break. You guys know I always have two. So we're going to have this last break of the night. We'll come back and we'll just continue the conversation. It is so good. I love it. I love it. So don't go away, everybody. We will be right back in just a moment, right here on Unsigned Artist Reveal Worldwide.
The Platinum Agencies is taking the indie brand to the next level with customized strategies that include interviews on Unsigned Artist Reveal Worldwide, as well as campaigns on social media. Listen to what these artists have to say about us. Soul R&B artist Selena Albright says, I believe in the platinum agencies and the amazing things it will continue to do for independent artists in the future. Not only does Sabrina Taylor have an ear for the best-kept secrets in the music industry, but in a market where independently made music tends to be greatly overshadowed, her platform offers a unique opportunity for all artists to be heard. Some of my favorite interviews of my career have been with Sabrina Taylor. She really knows how to ask the right questions to capture the hidden story behind the music that fans want to hear. And I've always been so moved by her ability to pair her original imagery to my music whenever I visit her platform. Soul jazz artist Cherie Patrice says, UAR is a great platform and source for indie artists to promote, expound, and extend their brand. You can always count on UAR to capture the essence, the heart, and the soul of an indie artist within its presentation. I always feel welcomed, celebrated, and in good hands with its CEO and founder, Sabrina Taylor, who puts her grand touch of elegance and excellence on every artist she comes in contact with. I highly endorse the UAR worldwide experience. Connect with the Platinum Agencies at tpatheplatinum.agencies.com. Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. Sabrina Taylor here with our special guest, Trumpeter, Marcus Darling Williams. He's here. You know how to get that in there at least one.
I like that. Mm.
At least one time. I had to do it. It is just so wonderful to finally, guys, we of course had a pre-interview, and it was just so amazing the information that I learned from him. Just an all-around nice guy. And I was like, oh, I can't wait for you guys to meet him and be as excited as I am. And so prior to getting back to the business at hand, prior to our break, you were chatting about your mentor at Berkeley. Now,
Mhm.
there was someone else that you met along the way. Share that experience with the family as well.
Okay, well, what happened was is after I got my education from Richard, right?
Yeah.
Berkeley became no longer interesting to me musically. I wasn't learning anything. So,
Ooh.
and I
Ooh.
wasn't interested in getting a degree because I wasn't interested in teaching or I just wanted to
Got it.
make music, right?
Right. Right.
So, I was ready to go out to Los Angeles because I didn't want to go to New York. I wanted to go to Los Angeles because of the production. It's more
Sure.
production out in Los
Sure.
Angeles in those days, all the studios. So, but this one particular friend of mine, she had introduced me, and I had a, a female artist that I was working with as well at the time, and she said, "Do you want to get in the music business?" I said, "Yeah," and she said, "That's a stupid business, right?" And she was in the business before, right? And I said, "Well, yeah,
Yeah.
She said, "Well, listen, I know a guy, uh, and I'm going to introduce you to him, and he can teach you about the business." And she told me his name was Ed Townsend, and I didn't know who Ed Townsend was at the time, and so she put me in touch with him, and I
Yeah.
gave him a call, and it was like, yeah, man, send me a tape or whatever. So I sent him some music, and at the time we sent him some music, and so um, he was like, yeah, I want to work, I want to talk to you, I want to. So he asked us to come down to your neck of the woods, which was where he was, Mound Bayou, Mississippi.
Yeah.
And so, wow, I was like, wow, Mississippi, you know.
Out of all places in the world.
I'm, I'm on the East Coast, right, at the time, right? And I'm thinking, man, Mississippi, really? All
Oh
right.
my
But,
home home of Jackson, Mississippi, home of Malaco Records. Just
yes,
throwing that
no,
in there.
Malaco was it wasn't in Jacksonville, Mississippi, right?
It's in
Malaco.
Jackson, Mississippi. Here,
Yeah.
yeah, in Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it's in
Mound
Jackson.
Bayou, I want to let the audience know that is one of the few, if not the only, all African American towns that
Right.
is still existing to.
Yep. Absolutely.
And there, when I moved all my stuff there and everything, because I stayed in Mound Bayou for 2 years, and Ed
Oh,
was quite a character. I mean, I was very headstrong again. I was based on music theory and everything. Oh, we can't put a, you can't. He says, look, man, throw all of that out the window. And it was kind of hard for me. He used to argue with me, and I really, I cannot say enough about thank you because he was really patient. It was very,
yeah.
I mean, because I'm like, I know what I know, and that's it.
Sure.
And he
Sure.
was like, look, you got to throw all that out the window. You can't write from your head. You have to write from your heart.
Got it.
And I was like, what do you mean? He says, because you're too busy thinking about the theory of music, the mechanics of music,
Mm,
and not thinking about the situation that you're trying to write about.
right.
And that, wow, opened a
Changed
whole
it.
new window. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, he started to teach me how to write what I'm feeling. So if the song had a subject like "Tell Me It Ain't So," then it has to tell a story, or it
Right.
wasn't a song to him, right?
Oh, wow.
He would
Yeah.
immediately just tell you, "Oh yeah, you got some talent, but it's not a song."
It's not
And
right.
one of the greatest things that I got to do with him is that he could just pick up the phone and
Mm.
call Aretha Franklin or call up, Dizzy Gillespie, and he
Ugh.
knew everybody.
Oh my
And
God.
so I got a chance to talk to some of these people, right?
Yeah. Right.
And Ed Townsend, let me kind of give the background in case maybe some people may not know. He was the uh, person who wrote "Let's Get It On" for
That's right.
Marvin Gaye. He
Yeah.
penned that song
He
and
and
sent it to
Marvin.
Marvin. Yeah, and
Mhm.
they made that song, and he could write about anything. He could write about a chicken bone, and it would just be so poetic. And, oh
It
my
would just
God.
work, right?
Yeah, it was
Mhm.
crazy. So I got a chance to study with him, and I met. I didn't know Dionne Warwick had a sister named Dee Dee Warwick,
Mm.
and she came to. A lot of people came through Mount Bayou, but she was one of the people that came through. And
Wow.
that's when I heard it again. She said, "Oh my God, you're like a young Quincy Jones. You're like a
Here
young
you go
Quincy."
again with that.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, "Oh man,
Ugh.
what is this?" She says, "You got that cute thing."
Yeah.
And so um, because I
Ah,
wasn't really playing the trumpet much at that time, so nobody really heard my trumpet because I was just writing and producing in those
got it.
days. And so the mayor of Mount Bayou wanted us to stay there, and because we were ready to leave, because Ed had taken ill
Right.
and he needed to go to L.A. to get treatment, and so they were saying, "Well, you should stay and start a record label here," and I was like, "I don't know, man. I'm just too cityfied to be." I mean, it was beautiful, and the food
Of
we had,
course.
we had,
Of
we had
course.
the hamburger joint. I think her name was Bobby's Hamburgers or something. It was like this juke joint, but man, the food was just over the top.
Of
And
course.
we had the Downy burger that I used to go and get a strawberry milkshake and a cheeseburger there, and everybody knew us and took a liking to us, but I just wasn't it just didn't. I didn't feel like that was the place I needed to be, so I wound up leaving, and I went to Los Angeles from
You
there.
did go
I
to
was ready.
LA
Yeah, I
and you
felt that I
had
was
some
ready.
and you had offers
Yeah,
while you were
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Um, but
I, I
did you even think about accepting any of them, Marcus? How many
well,
offers? First of all, how many offers did you get?
let me line it up for you. Okay,
Okay.
when I was with Ed Townsend, his son, I forget his first name, but the group was called Surface. Only you can make
Yes,
me happy,
I
right?
remember that.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So I was in Ed's house when they got their offer to get a record deal,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I was there. I heard the whole process from someone wanting to
Start.
sign you to the contracts to what to look for, yada 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 yada. And
Right.
then I also had a chance to talk to, I don't know if you know who Al Bell is. Al Bell used to be the owner of Stax Records.
Oh, the name sounded so familiar.
Right.
Yeah.
And I got
Okay.
a chance to talk to Al Bell a couple of times, more than
Mhm.
numerous times. And again, I'm learning, they're teaching me about the business, not just about music.
Sure.
Dave
Sure.
Clark of Malaco Records, all of these people were teaching me about the business. So, okay,
Wow.
when I got the offers, like I told you, I did one song and it was called Obsession.
Hmm.
And it was because I used to go through the magazines and I just find something that give me inspiration. And
Oh.
so I did a song called Obsession, and I made a demo of it. We sent it off to I think it was Polydor
I
Publishing,
remember Polydor.
right?
Right.
Right, in Universal City, uh,
Hmm.
and they loved the song. Right, the guy says, "Man, Vanessa Williams heard the song and she really likes it," and blah blah blah. Right, so he said he'd come by. He wanted to offer me a deal, and
Sure.
so the deal was not going into many details, but the deal wasn't. It was things missing. If I would have
Mm.
signed that deal, I wouldn't have never made any money off of the record.
So it
And
wasn't
then
beneficial to you as the artist. It was beneficial
right,
to the label, is what you're
everyone
saying.
else but me.
Right. Right.
And I was like, well, listen, man. I said, and he was like, well, we could give you some studio time and you can make. I said, no, this song is a smash hit record. It's not a hit. It's a smash hit. All right.
Yeah.
And I mean, you got. I mean, I know I'm new and all of this, but you got to come more correct than that. And they just wouldn't,
Wow.
it just wouldn't come with anything. Like I said, they're at that time. I felt like my model was they're not looking for great artists. They're looking for people who have got big talent but don't know anything about the business. So knowing about the business was my downfall
Mm.
in Los Angeles. That guy that got me where I could not get
A
signed.
record. Yeah. Because you knew too much from the inside.
Right,
You had
right.
seen too much, you'd heard too much.
God prepared me really well before I got to Los Angeles. That
And
was that was definitely God.
and who knows, you may have just gotten signed and set on a shelf. Because
Right,
that's what happened to a lot of artists, you know.
right, right. And so I wound up. I realized I wasn't going to get um, a deal
Yeah.
unless I was willing to compromise
Compromise.
myself.
True.
And I was like, I just could. Man, imagine you wrote a record and
Hmm.
it became a big hit,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you didn't get anything from it. It's just a nightmare to me. I'd rather just stay broke and not have to deal with that. That could drive you to drinking. You'd be like, man. I was like, no. I'm like, no, man. I don't want that on my. I don't want that on my. I don't want
But
that blemish on my life.
but you know, in
Mm-hmm.
from the conversation we had back of house, even with Guy, they had
Mm-hmm.
all these number one hits. And remember, that's the camp I was supposed to start in, is
Mm-hmm.
with Guy. Well, at
Mm-hmm.
least with the management at the time,
Right.
which was Gene Griffin, but rest his soul, he's, no longer with this. But they had all of these hits. And all of a sudden there was,
Right.
all of this division in the group because the money was looking
Mm-hmm.
real funny at a certain point. Where's my money? You know, they weren't getting it. So somebody had to be getting it. Well, you got to pay for studio time and promotions and
Mm-hmm.
well,
Mm-hmm.
you got to, because they're going to get their money first. And but we can sign another deal for another 20 years. And I'm just saying that for impact, and keep it going. Oh, you mean keep the going. So yes, that was the nature of the beast.
Yes.
And
Yes.
hence the indie culture now. They are
Mm-hmm.
tired of being the creator of all of this great music, right?
Mm-hmm.
And somebody else benefits from it. and not the
Yeah,
creator.
you know, it's funny, and this is something that I'll pose to the audience as well. I have a pet peeve about using the word unsigned artist or independent artist because
Right.
we're just artists.
Yes.
What gives the industry the right to make it seem as if we don't have a stamp of a seal of approval, like, oh, he's unsigned or he's
Right.
independent, or no, all of those labels started like me,
So,
you know, somebody in a room with an idea and a song and it took off and then they started signing other people and this, that, and the third.
right.
You know, so
Right.
we're just artists, and I really sometimes I want to advocate for that, but just when I hear the word unsigned, it just almost sounds like unsealed or he's uncertified or I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but you guys tell me how you feel about that in the audience as well, because I mean, I think that
Yeah.
it should be a brand. The branding is wrong to me for
Right.
us,
Right.
but
And
that's
that
my opinion.
but that was the reason that this was birthed,
Right,
because if you weren't signed to a
right,
major label, you were
right.
ousted as far as the industry was concerned.
Well,
And as I
the industry was scared.
get
You got to think about it because it's a lot of great artists out here.
hello.
Just like man, and so they're artists who are in their stable,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna get in trouble for this, right?
Oh,
But it's like they had to make some kind of way to make you seem less than their artist,
mm,
even though the production, because of the computers and
mhm,
everything now is you can do pretty much production in your own home, and it
right.
doesn't cost hundreds of thousands of dollars anymore,
Correct. Correct.
right? So
Correct.
you could produce the same audio sonic quality that
Quality.
a George Benson record could be or a
Yes.
Miles Davis record. And
Yes.
so now it really came down to how well your creative ideas transcend into music.
Right.
So the labels were like, well, man, damn, what are we gonna do? We got Sabrina over here with this new record, and she's gonna give Regina Bell this trouble because she could start taking some of her sales. So they had to figure out a way to
Divide.
separate. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
and they do that in the stores, everything. And I'm just like, come on, man, we're just artists. Just I'm no different than George Benson. I'm no
That's
different
right.
than Wynton Marsalis or anyone else. I got it.
Yep.
I played the trumpet. He played the trumpet. He
Right.
recorded for Columbia. I record for myself. You
Wow.
know.
Well, the only
So
difference is the big machine is
yeah,
behind would be
yeah,
the big machine behind them versus behind you. And I always
right.
thought that was so unfair. And I always loved the fact that I could connect. Well, I'll say it this way. When I heard the quality was as good or better
Mm,
as some who were on a major label, I thought,
mm-hmm,
does anybody else know about? And this was years ago when before
mm-hmm,
I start,
right.
as I was thinking about starting this.
Mm,
And this is why it's called Unsigned Artist Reveal. Now, since that time, and I've shared this with only one other person, and I'm glad you're bringing this up because, fam, I want you to also um, chime in about my idea. As I've grown and my brand has expanded, uh, there have been some hindrances in who I can bring on the platform. Not all, but a lot of the artists are kind of feeling some kind of way because it said, "Well, I am signed." Well, but they don't know how this evolved and what the thought was when I brought this all together, right? Because at the time it was either you're signed or you're unsigned. Independents were just starting to make an impact, right?
mm-hmm,
So now you have independent artists who have their own labels and they're signing not only themselves but others. Not
mm-hmm,
as many, but they are. But it's shifting. And so with that, I have kind of kicked around a new name. And it's because I'm now having people from Hollywood inquire about coming to this platform. I'm not going to call, there are several.
Mhm.
And I've been talking to one who is truly already said, I just need to do A, B, C, and D, and then we'll get on your schedule. But in order for the masses to be more receptive, there is a consideration of a name change. So, fam, I want you to chime in and share what your thoughts are, because I've built this brand from nothing. And that this is what everybody knows me as now, is Unsigned Artist Reveal Worldwide. And people are coming from the north, south, east, and west. But you share with me what your thoughts are. And those of you who will watch on the replay, you share with me as well your thoughts. I really need you to do this for me. It's very, very important. Um, when I relaunched, I actually thought about relaunching with a new name because I had a new theme song. For several years, I had Sundance by a bassist, Mike Manson's Sundance. Beautiful song. But when I came back in January, I wanted all things new. And I kind of toyed around with coming out with a new name at that point, but I didn't want to shock people so much, and wanted to get back on the horse and ride it a little bit. And then, as I reintroduced myself, then maybe share that I'd shift names. But in any event, I totally agree with you, Marcus. It is the industry who kind of had the artists begin to vie with each other and divide, exactly, divide based on if you're on a major label, you're
Mhm.
in. If you're
As a
not
matter
on
of
a
fact,
major label, you're
they
not.
would say things like we'd call us bedroom artists, you know, and they can't mix, they can't this, they can't
Uh,
that. Oh, they
God,
were going at it because the fear of the competition was real, and it is real. As you can see, your look at
yes.
your platform. It's really a professional, wonderful platform. I'm enjoying being here. It's my first interview in I don't know how long because I've retired from the industry. I
Right.
still write music, but I just don't bother with industry people. And so it is a true fresh of breath, a breath of fresh air to engage with you.
Oh, thank
So
you,
I really
Marcus.
appreciate the. I'm happy to be here today to be able to discuss these matters.
And that's what it's about, really, to have this
Mm,
open dialogue and to hear, the heart of the artist, because that's what it's about. It's about telling the story. It's
mm.
more than just, hey, I got a new album out, buy it.
Right,
I want
right.
people to hear the story behind the artist, and the name is
Mm,
sort of sprinkled with that.
mm,
So
mm.
I'll share along the way. But this is so good. This is so good. So we're going to do the music premiere. I cannot believe the hour is like gone. Can you believe that, Marcus? It's just like gone. We're going to premiere a song, but um, I want to wrap this up before we get into the music premiere. So, what made you move to Bali?
I have to give that to God.
Mm,
Um, I didn't know where Bali was. I didn't know anything, right?
yeah, yeah.
And I had met this Indonesian person in Los Angeles, and
Okay.
um, she kind of knew everybody who was in the music in Indonesia, and she said, you could really do a lot in Indonesia. They need a guy like you." I said, "Into where?" And so she told me she got a map and showed me. I was like, "Oh wow, really?" I never heard of the place. And so anyway, I came to Jakarta first. That's like the New York of Indonesia, right? And
Oh,
so I
good.
was with a lot of the major artists at that time here.
Mhm, mhm.
And so I went back to America. And now when I was in Indonesia, I didn't experience any type of racism, oppression, whatever. Just
Cool.
it was yes, sir. It treated me like anybody else, and I've never felt that before,
Wow.
right? And
Wow.
so I used to be so uncomfortable because I'm kind of a tall guy, and so people think, oh, he's here to rob us or something. It's just it's a weird feeling. And so when I got there, to wrap it up really quick, I came back to America. I felt that again, and I said, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this with the record industry and all of this other stuff. I told you I was very negative, you know,
Mm,
and I just decided that it was I should go back. What do I have to lose, right? And so I
right.
went back and I wound up staying, and I was in Jakarta, and then a friend of mine said, "You need to go to Bali." I said, "Bali?" He said, "Yeah, that's where the artists go. That's where all of the painters are, and
Really?
writers and poets and this kind of thing." And I was like, "Really? Wow. Okay." So he invited me, and I flew to Bali, and I was just visiting. Next thing you know, I rented a house, and my studio was coming to Bali, and I I've been here ever since. That was in the year 2000.
Wow, and you're still there. That's
Yeah.
amazing. That's amazing. Well, I want you guys to hear some of his music. Well, I just have one track tonight. Tell Me It Ain't So. That's the name of the song.
Mm.
Tell Me It Ain't So. It's a beautiful song. I have heard a lot of his music, which is why we're here today. And I just wanted you guys to, even though he's in retirement, the music is still etched in history. And I want you guys to enjoy it. So we're going to premiere Tell Me It Ain't So tonight by our special guest, Marcus Williams. You guys, you're going to love it. Tell me it ain't so. Marcus, amazing
Thank
music.
you. Thank you.
Absolutely amazing music. Just, man, a nice glass of red, whatever red, doesn't matter. Merlot, Pinot Noir, Sauvignon, it doesn't matter. Just any
It,
red.
it's my
And
brand of romantic jazz. That's my brand of music that I make. All of my songs are based on romance and
romantic jazz. That's your brand. You
yeah.
guys, don't you just see? Don't you just love that? Oh my
So I'm
God.
still I'm still recording. I just like I said, I haven't been doing anything in terms of in the industry, but I'm writing a new CD.
Mhm.
It's a double CD actually, and it's going to be based on Romance in the Rain. So
Oh,
hopefully I'll be able to release that sometime this year. So just to let you know.
well, you're getting all kinds of comments, and I'm having them posted, and um, it was just outstanding. Absolutely, there, Colleen, definitely somebody to know on Facebook. She's got tons of jazz groups that um, you need to connect to once you release that.
Okay.
And also, absolutely, also, we want to be able to have people know where you are. You're not on any of the normal digital
No,
channels.
no.
And I knew that.
You can only get my music at one store that actually pays the artist fairly,
Yep.
and that is bandcamp.com. They
Yep.
will, at least if you're wanting to support me, which I appreciate, at
Yep.
least your money that you're purchasing of my music, it
Hmm.
gets to me, which is a great big help to me, especially since I make my money solely from my craft. And so
Yeah.
I appreciate it if you would purchase it. If you are to interested to purchase it, would purchase it from there because everyone else is. It's really. If I told you the price splits that they're doing,
It's
you
nothing.
would think that the government would step in and say, "Hey, we this is not right," but
Right.
nobody says anything, and I feel bad for our artists because it takes a lot of money to and
Do
time
what you
to work. Yeah.
yeah, to
Mhm.
do what you do.
That's
And
correct.
it's just phenomenal music. And we also
And
want everybody to
one other note. That was all me doing that record.
now
No,
I was going to ask those questions as well.
yeah,
I was getting to that. But I want people to know how to connect
yeah.
with you.
Okay.
He's on Facebook, he's on
Okay.
IG. And hopefully we can get him to show his face every now and then and come back to life.
Well,
Come,
now that I met you, I will definitely come back. I told you, you're drawing me back in the industry.
come on back,
Yeah,
Marcus. Stop.
you're like the candy that because I like you have good energy. You have good
Thank
energy.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Mhm.
And so, that being said, so
Mhm.
all the instrumentation, is that
Mhm.
you?
Yes, yeah, that's
No.
one of my gifts is that I'm able to make all of this stuff. Ed Townsend used to say this is really I don't know if I could just say it, but He
Sure.
said you have a great way of masturbating with yourself with music because you can do it all yourself. It's
Oh my
like
God.
that's what he said. That's why I was
It's like, I'm
scared to
just gonna
say it,
put it
but
out
he
there.
said, "Man, you're like a genius at that." Yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah,
wow.
and
Wow. Wow.
yeah, but that I didn't really I thought everybody was able to do that kind of thing, but it's something that it is a gift.
Yeah.
Uh, and being in Bali, it was the best thing that could have happened because I can do all of the music that I
Wow.
need to do. I don't
So
have to wait on someone.
every instrument in that
Mhm,
track is
mhm.
Marcus Williams.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
There's no other,
amazing.
but no one else but me.
Wow.
Yeah, and
And
it's
I
fun.
want to and I want to hear more instrumentation. And don't get me wrong, and you guys, he sings too. Out of all of that, he arranges, he produces, he plays all of these instruments, and he sings. This one just didn't have his voice. Majority of the music that I've heard does have scants and a little verbiage here and a little there, and that I think maybe that's why I loved that song so much is because I could hear everything rhythmically going on,
Mm,
and
mm-hmm,
it just took me to a place that a
mm,
voice could not take me, if that makes
mm-hmm,
sense. Yeah.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So this is just amazing. This is amazing. You guys,
It's either
please,
or. It's
huh?
either or. It's either or with my fans. Some fans like the dreamy thing that I
Yeah.
have. We make love through the night. That kind of thing. And then some people like just the horn and the vibe. So, yeah.
It's all of it. No, again, don't get me wrong. I love them both, but
Mm-hmm.
there are days when I come in,
Mm-hmm.
I don't, I've heard so many voices, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
in the day
Mm.
that I don't want to hear a voice. The only voice I
Right.
want to hear is a sax voice. Do you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yep.
Or
I
a
get you.
trumpet.
I get you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And as one of the fam said, a glass of wine and you're just closing your eyes and you're just letting
Mm-hmm.
the day just
Mm-hmm.
float away. Right. So, but you are an amazing creative, just amazing. I am so
Thank
glad
you.
I found you. And I
I
don't
guess
even honest how I found you. I don't know. I don't know how I found you, but I'm so
I
glad.
wasn't trying to be found. That's for sure. Right.
Oh
Oh
my
God.
gosh.
Oh
Yes,
boy.
indeed.
But I'm
Well,
glad you found me too. I really am.
thank you. Thank you guys. And I hope you, the audience, enjoyed. And those who will watch on the replay, I hope you guys enjoy him as much as I have enjoyed him. It's just amazing how technology works, that
Mm,
we can connect now. Doesn't matter where you are in the whole wide world, we can still connect. Still connect.
mm.
Is there anything you want to leave? um, the listener who will hear your music, or some wisdom key or nugget that you want to leave with the artist, because you're retired, but anything you want to leave with us.
I think the main thing is that to do to do you and don't let anyone. One of the things that don't write music for musicians
Mm.
because musicians you can't tell where they're coming from. Sometimes they can hear something really great and they'll say, "Well, it's all right," because they don't really want you to shine. So I've had to learn to you got to trust your own instincts. You know, put it in the hands of God, but don't put your career in the hands of others for
Got
opinions.
it. Right.
Okay. The other thing is just let's just keep working together with this platform and making this come together so that all artists can have a place to showcase their material and hopefully we can start advocating for all artists to be paid properly.
Oh yes. Oh
Yeah,
yes.
because that will make the industry explode. Think
True.
about it.
True.
You know,
True.
it's everybody has to make a living. So
Right.
that would be great. So let's just see what happens. We're in a new paradigm. I'm excited about what's happening now, and I'm just honored to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I hope that you enjoyed everything, my audience out there. I miss America. I miss the food. Um, and I love you all. Thank you so much.
Are you coming back to the States anytime soon?
There's talks about inviting me to come to perform
Hmm.
there.
Okay.
Um, so that's possible. We'll see if it's a legitimate situation. Yes, I would love to come back there. I haven't been there in so long. I would definitely be like probably the tourist getting off the. Oh wow, look, is that the Empire State? But you know,
Oh my God, that is so funny.
yeah, I haven't been home in wow almost 20 25 years somewhere in there. Yeah, I would
Wow.
love to come home and see what it's like. You know.
Culture shock.
Mm.
Just
I have to
letting
come to
you.
Mississippi again, though. I have to get some of that
Yeah,
soul food here.
you
Yeah.
got to. You got
Mm.
to. You got to. You would enjoy the food is off the chain. It always
Yes.
is in the
Yes.
South. It always
Yeah.
is.
That's right. And the
Yeah.
hospitality, which I really love there. You know,
Southern
because
hospitality.
I was used to New York. Everybody's like, "Hey, yeah, you look. What do you want from me? You know, hey, get away from me. What do you know?" And down there, it's like, "How you doing?
Hey
How
y'all.
Yeah, right. And would you come on over and have some lunch with us? And we'd love to have you, babies. And
That is
boy,
so true.
yeah, that is, and
That is
that's
it,
Indonesia. That's Indonesia as well. Their hospitality is really
oriented.
they're the
Yeah.
greatest, nicest people you can meet. And
Wow.
so I told you, a smile and a hello goes a long way here.
Oh,
Everywhere actually I've traveled, but the
wow.
states, because
Wow.
everybody doesn't trust each other.
That's true. So true.
What do you
That is.
want? You said hello. It must be something. Or what do you want? $1? Or what is it?
It's always something.
Got to get out of that.
Ulterior ulterior motives. Yeah.
Mm,
But
mm.
some of us just want great music and a glass of wine and we're
Mm.
fine. That's, and great conversation, right guys? I've seen so many people say at the last minute, great conversation. Oh, this was such great conversation. So, my family is an amazing family, and I wouldn't trade them for all the tea in China. I really wouldn't. So, thank you again for coming, Marcus.
For
And we
having
love
me.
you. We love you. And yes, others are saying they will support you guys. Don't forget to support him. All of his
Thank you.
information will come up again. At the end, Marcus, you can go on to the Unsigned Artist Reveal page and
Okay.
you can go in and you can answer to or comment on
Okay.
anything that was shared in the chat. So feel free
Okay.
to do that. Okay.
Okay. I will.
Don't disconnect. You know, I've got to get my credits out there, but you guys remember what you make happen for others, God will also make it happen for you. I love you guys, and I'll see you next Monday. Gary Purcell, if I'm not mistaken, is coming up next Monday, and you don't want to miss this. It's going to be amazing. You guys take care. Love you.